Maybe not forgotten. I think my mind had forced the memory out, but I knew I couldn't cope with it, not when I was just a little boy. I remember my parents and their tears, and the ambulance that they called, my parents telling me over and over that it wasn't my fault, but it was. I was still that little boy who made himself forget what he was standing on the riverbank, clutching onto the girl's arm as she was drowning. This, I realized, why I came here. I needed to make myself remember. I had to find my source of my fear. Remembered that I had kept this for a moment from my mind. She drowned, and in the river, she she drowned, and I had made myself remember not to forget that memory that seeped out of the movie. That I realized that was my secret. I kept it all locked up inside me, but the memory had found my way. My little sister's ghost wouldn't be forgotten. Each time I thought about this damnable movie, each time, I try to remember Return to Oz. I remember Dorothy Gale drowning in the river. But it wasn't Dorothy. It never had been Dorothy. It had been my little sister. And now she is my ghost, not the sinister, skulking figure that thirsted for revenge. But she had been there always in my shadows, haunting me. Until I made my own journey to the past, made my own return to Oz. That film is important to me now, and I know it now. I've never been free from it, even when I tried to say goodbye. When I spoke my lost of my sister's name on the riverbank, I knew that she would follow me forever. I couldn't leave her behind. I couldn't lock her away again. Return to Oz is bound to us forever. Because my mother, who loved Judy Garland, had named my sister Dorothy. And that, my little pretties, was Return to Oz, a creepypasta written by Justin Parallax. My final thoughts on this story. Um, this was honestly a really good, well-made Wizard of Oz, related creepypasta. Now I know I haven't did one since I did my Linus commentary on my Wizard of Oz story that was kind of shit, but as of now, I mean, I've been wanting to do this story for, I guess ever since I've heard Creepsmith Pasta narrated this story. And this is basically based on, the actual movie Return to Oz, but mainly this is about, the protagonist losing his sister Dorothy and, making his own version, not own version, but basically telling his own story of Return to Oz, but in a different manner. Now, I gotta say, this story was pretty popular. Like, I've seen creepy ghost stories narrated this one. I also know Red Crops also narrated this one, as well as Christmas Pasta. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have actually narrated this story, and they actually say that it was a pretty good story, especially for how everything went out. I mean, it's a pretty good story. I really do find this story to be, enjoyable at the most part. Now, since this story was a pretty long story, and I think it took me over an hour to narrate, I'm gonna sit here and basically not wrap up the review, but basically make the review as short as possible. Well, no, it's not really short, but still, I had to split this into 3 parts. So, I honestly do like this story. I really do. This is an old story from 2014, so this is a very old story, but I still found it very enjoyable in the matter of sense. Now, I have not seen this movie in like a long time. I think the last time I watched this movie I was probably a kid when I watched it, but I don't really remember much of this movie. But I could definitely say I do like the concept of this story. It's not like a haunted lost movie or anything like that. I know it does have some element of form of, movie being mentioned at certain parts and the protagonist talking about the certain parts of the movie. But I definitely have to say it actually plays out well with the concept of this story. It actually does. I mean, it's not that easy to do that nowadays, but this story manages to do it very well. Now, I mean, I do like the concept. I honestly fell in love with this story some time ago when I first heard it from Christmas Pasta. So, I honestly decided to, narrate this story for my own self. I actually didn't have time to narrate it because I was trying to look for it, but I found it on the creepypasta.org website. And that's where I actually took a look at this story, and I honestly really enjoy it. It's a very well made creepypasta. It's definitely worth to check out, especially if you're a Wizard of Oz fan, like I am, personally. So, yeah, I know. I've been kind of putting this in the back of my mind of me wanting to narrate this story for like a little while, but I had just honestly finally had the opportunity to narrate this story. So, I definitely have to say, I was very surprised of how the concept went out. It plays out perfectly with the story. It's not like, the protagonist sees this movie and it's like a, beta or altered version of the movie or anything like that. I mean, most pastas really do rely on that nowadays, but I mean, there are some stories that manages to do it decently. But this story, on the other hand, I have to say, it honestly fits out well with the concept. It actually fits well with the storyline. I do enjoy how well it made and detailed that the storyline really is with this story. So, I do have to say that the grammar of the story, the grammar is really good. I really do appreciate the grammar being really good. Now, I have not seen the Return to Oz movie in quite a little while, because I think the last time I watched it was like a couple years ago when I was a kid. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie. I know it's like one of the Dark Wizard of Oz movies. So, this is not really the sequel to The Wizard of Oz, the Judy Garland one, because, this is kind of like a spin off movie, so to speak. Especially with the detail on, the protagonist goes through. Basically, he's going through certain stuff, such as, he actually mentions that the girl Dorothy that he mentions in the movie, and he has a sister named Dorothy who actually ended up drowning in a river when he was just a kid. I mean, it was sad and depressing, yes, but it still fits out well with how this movie went out. Although I do know for a fact that Dorothy did not drown in this movie. I mean, I don't really remember too much of this movie. I mean, I haven't watched it in years, so I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie to see for myself. So, but like I would say, the sentence structuring was pretty good, as well as a good grammar and all that. Paragraph structuring worked out perfectly. I mean, I actually thought this story had a good concept, and it did. I actually really liked the story. I thought it was neat. The good concept of the story ended up going well. I do like, basically everything about this story. And I definitely would have to say that this story honestly was, fabulous. A very well made Wizard of Oz creepypasta. I mean, it sucks that another good creepypasta that I've been trying to look for a long time was called Yellow Brick Road. That was one story I've been trying to look for years to narrate, but I couldn't find it. It's not on the regular creepypasta wiki anymore, which kind of sucks. But if somebody manages to archive the story into another website, then yeah, they could feel free to send it to me, because I want to narrate it, because that's another story I've been looking into narrating, but I had no luck finding it, so. But at least this is a Wizard of Oz another Wizard of Oz pasta you'll get, as well as my, Wizard of Oz story I wrote called the 1936 version. I mean, oh god. Oh god, that story was cringing me like crazy. But anyways, yeah. I'm gonna say this right now. This is simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story gets obviously a 10 out of 10. A great creepypasta revolving Wizard of Oz, beautifully well made, definitely a lot of time and effort into the story. I do appreciate, the concept and the storyline. I like how much detail that the protagonist went into when he was telling this story. I honestly really enjoyed this story, and I've been honestly thinking about maybe going to watch The Return to Oz again, even though I haven't seen that movie in years. But it's still a really fabulous, good movie to watch. So I know it's a Dark Wizard of Oz movie, but I'll still watch it, because now I'm an adult. I mean, there were certain parts of that movie that kind of not really scare me, but kind of made me feel afraid a little bit. But since now I'm an adult, I think I probably don't remember those fears or anything. But even if I do remember them, I'll probably, I don't know, maybe I'll stay in the comments section of a video or something. I don't know. But anyways, with that being said, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.